So we will just turn everything sideways here. They'll choose to double block the Loner and chump the Flourishing Hunter. Makes sense. We will then go ahead and Massive Might, ping them for 1. Pump once. Pump twice. Pump 3 times. And is it enough? Who even knows? There we go. Looks like it's Xaxes for lethal. Hello Daily Drafters, today is Friday, January 28th, and thanks for joining me for today's Daily Draft. As we get into the draft here, I'd like to give a special thank you to all those in the subscriber community for choosing to spend a part of your day here with me. And for those of you that aren't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that red subscribe button, attached or underneath this video. Remember, it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime, and you will then have access to the most consistent high-quality MTG Limited content on YouTube. Let's dive into this pack one, pick one here and see. First, we'll take a look at the commons here. I think the only notable ones are Flame Breather and Gluttonous Guest, and neither of those are something I want to be first picking. As far as uncommons go, they're all quite good. I don't want to first pick Skullscob. It's not a deck I'm super willing to get into, especially early. I'd rather have this be a reason I get into blue-black a little bit later. Then we've got Twin Blade Geist and Circle of Confinement, both good white cards. I think Circle being better, but there is just a Path of Peril here. The cleave cost is splashable, so we don't even have to be black-white necessarily. But this card, Wraths in Limited are obviously very good. So we're going to go ahead and take Path of Peril here. As much as I don't like starting out black in this format, this card is good enough to start black and see where that goes. Okay. Pick 2 here, we're instantly not punished, but not looking great. Consuming Tide's not a great card. Magma Pummeler is fine. Spider doesn't go with our first pick, and I don't really want to find myself into blue-green this early. Neither of the black cards are particularly playable. Dissenter is in certain decks, but we don't even know that we're that specific deck yet. Siphon Essence is fine. I think the best card in this pack is just Falkenrath Celebrants here. So I'm going to take it because I'm not staying black, and none of the other cards push me toward a particular color. Falkenrath Celebrants, I think, is just the best card in this pack. Maybe that or Magma Pummeler, but I think Celebrants is better than Pummeler. So I'm going to go ahead and take Celebrants, and we'll see where this goes. So interesting pick here. We have Innocent Traveler, which has been fine to good in this format. Sometimes it's been underwhelming for sure. And then there's also Flame Blessed Bolt. So this is difficult to decide between these two. There's another Pummeler, but I don't think that's near as good as those two cards. And everything else in the pack is not as good as either Traveler or Bolt. So do we want to go with Traveler to hold on to our Path of Peril, or do we want to go with Bolt to go with Celebrants? I think we'll just take what I think is the best card in this pack, which is Flame Blessed Bolt over Innocent Traveler. Path of Peril also incentivizes you to run a little bit underneath the average number of creatures, just so that you can get value off of the Wrath effect, because you don't want to be wrathing away all of your own creatures as well. So we'll go ahead and take the Bolt here and see what comes our way. So there is an Odric in this pack, which, ooh, look, flashy, legendary, rare creature. It's not actually that great. It can be good in certain decks, but it's not something that's like, oh my gosh, now I need to draft red-white. On that note, every other card in this pack is completely replaceable. The best one is Massive Might in certain decks, Heron Blessed Geist in certain decks, Cobbled Lancer is fine, not outstanding. And then there's Odric. I don't even know if any of these cards would make our deck, no matter which one we went to. I guess we'll take Odric as a 3-mana 3/3 with upside, potentially. But otherwise, it's not great. And see what I mean by not wanting to start black in this format. I've said this a lot. This pack has only Mind Leech Ghoul. And instantly, now we're presented with a lot of good black cards. So maybe that was just a bad black pack, the last one. But here we go. Now we've got good black cards that we're willing to take. I think this one's between Scavenger, Socialite, or Guest, and I think the first Scavenger is something that I really want access to. So with Celebrants, Bolt, and Path, there is an argument to going down a Vampire route, but I think Scavenger is just enough of a better card than Guest. And before we know we're committed to Black-Red, if we knew we were committed to Black-Red, like somewhere in Pack 2, I think we could consider taking the Socialite here. But because we don't know we're committed to Black-Red, we can take the Scavenger as what I think is the best black card in that pack. Okay, so now we've got Specimen as the only black card, and it's really only good in blue-black and decks that have sacrifice outlets. The best card in this pack is probably Flourishing Hunter. Haven't been a big fan of the Catgeist, and I don't need to let the Catgeist pull me into blue away from any of this. So I don't think we need an Honored Heirloom, especially this early. I mean, maybe we could to consider splashing Odric, but it's not really a card you want to splash. I think I'll just take what I think is the best card in this pack in Flourishing Hunter and go from there. Okay, so we have an Evolving Wilds and a Reckless Impulse, and to a lesser extent, Binding Geist. Those are like the 3 cards I'd even be willing to put into a deck here. So I'm going to take my first copy of Reckless Impulse because I think it's just the best card in this pack. So we'll take the Reckless Impulse here. Then we see, again, not a lot. Spore Crawler, Specimen for certain decks. Mind Leech Ghoul is not great. So just not a lot of good cards in this pack. So I guess we'll take Spore Crawler as enough better than Specimen that we can take that there. Syncopate's probably the best card in this pack, but we're not even remotely blue. There's like our 5th Specimen. Don't like combatants in anything but very aggressive decks. So I guess we'll take Specimen here, but not really be super attached to it. Spider did come back around, but that's blue-green, and we're quite far away. Ways away from that. I mean, Crawler and Hunter being the only thing that we have going towards that. But would I even play a Ridgewolf? I mean, maybe we end up red-green. So maybe the Ridgewolf can go for us. I don't think we're blue at all, so I'm just going to cut the red card here. Again, none of these cards really matter, but I'll just cut the red one more time because Binding Geist doesn't really matter for us. We'll cut green. And Rescue doesn't matter as well. So, bit of a messy first pack, to be honest. But honestly, the card quality wasn't really there. We saw Path of Peril, we saw Scavenger, and then no other black. We saw Celebrants, we saw Bolt, and then no other red. And then we just picked these 2 green cards out of some weak packs. So, bit of a difficult first pack to navigate. And here in the second pack, we whiffed on the rare. Demonic Bargain is not a card you want to put in your deck. Bloodsworn Squire I have been unimpressed with. Witness the Future is good, basically only in green-blue, and the best green-blue decks. So if we're looking at commons, it's between Flame Breather and Wolf Strike. I think I'll take the Flame Breather here, as we already have 3 instants and sorceries, and red is a better color than green in general. So I'd rather kind of take our first Flame Breather, and that's a very underwhelming pack or pick 1 there, obviously, but it was a weak pack overall. So now we have Dig Up if we went black-green, but I think red is our most likely color right now. Markov Purifier, not for us. We're not really looking to get into white. Everything else just kind of underwhelming. I guess we could take another, or not another, but our first Innocent Traveler. I did mention this card earlier being fine. But again, it's not something I'm happy to take pick 2 necessarily. But everything else is cards I really don't want to be putting in my deck. So I guess we'll be taking Innocent Traveler here. And then we get a sign with Ballista Watcher. Ballista Watcher is the best card in this pack by a long shot. There is an Imprisonment, which is good, but not for us. Same thing with Heron of Hope, not for us. So I think this is a pretty easy Ballista Watcher. And this is about the first card outside of Path of Peril that's incentivizing us to go a certain route here. Alright, instantly no more black cards again. So we're getting pushed off of black pretty hard, as much as I want to play Path of Peril. Not to mention, the best version of this, you have to be able to cleave it to get the Wrath, and we're not even remotely in white right now, so I'm not sure if that's going to work out. I have been impressed with Infestation Expert on the other side of the battlefield. I don't think I've cast it this format, but it's just a problem when it comes down on the other side. Enough so that I think I'm willing to take this and see if we can find ourselves into red-green a little bit. I think we have a decent start to a red-green deck here. And we'll see if that can go. Awesome. So, instantly the Blood Tithe Harvester. So, I think this is the pick that's going to decide which route we go in this draft. Between Blood Tithe Harvester and Hookhand Mariner. Obviously, Blood Tithe Harvester is a better card. But we are so cut off of black right now that I don't want to take this and give up on a couple of good green cards and what would be a third good green card here. I have liked red-green as an archetype as well as red-black. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pass this Harvester and give up on the Black Dream. I mean, we're giving up on Path of Peril and Scavenger, and Path of Peril to a lesser extent because we can't even cleave it right now. So we'll go ahead and just take the Infestation Expert, take the Hookhand Mariner, and I think look to go red-green. So here's Ritual and Wedding Security, which are probably the two best cards in this pack, which is awkward because we just kind of made a statement to go red-green. There's Witch's Web, but I'd prefer Massive Mites. There is just an Evolving Wilds, and I think we'll delay the decision here with taking an Evolving Wilds to improve our mana. And now we see Lumberknot, Hookhand Mariner, and a Flame Breather. We have not got any instants or sorceries this pack, so I don't think a second Flame Breather is the route we need to go necessarily, but I have been impressed with Hookhand Mariner, and I think it's what we're going to take here as good top-end in green decks. Weaver of Blossoms, Bramble Armor. Weaver is fine. I think we could take a first copy of Weaver here. It helps us get to Expert a turn early and Hunter a turn early as well if it stays around. So we'll go ahead and take this Weaver. Don't think we're playing any of these cards, so we'll just go ahead and rare draft here. So Rural Recruit or Pyre Spawn. I don't think we really want either of these cards, to be honest, so we'll just put that into the sideboard. Weary Prisoner can make the cut in a pinch, although I'd prefer it not to. So we'll throw that one in the sideboard. These cards probably will not make our deck. Same with these. And last pick, Crushing Canopy. Okay. Awesome news is that we found a great red rare to kind of secure us into green-red here. Not necessarily in green, but we're absolutely taking Ill-Tempered Loner and not looking back. I think we can go ahead and get rid of these black cards. This draft was emblematic of, again, what I've said for probably the past 3-4 weeks in this format, in that I really, even if the first pick is like a Bleed Dry over a Hookhand Mariner or something like that, or a Flame Blessed Bolt or whatever, I'd like to side with the non-black cards, because you saw we took the Path of Peril, we found a Diregraph Scavenger a few picks later, and that's about all we got. There was not much more than that. So we got pushed off of it pretty hard. Okay, here's between Wolfstrike and Rending Flame. I think Rending Flame is enough better than Wolfstrike. Maybe we wheel this, although I doubt it. The only thing we could consider wheeling is Prisoner or maybe an Evolving Wilds. So we'll take the Rending Flame here as good removal. We are lacking in the 2-drop department, so we're going to have to keep that in mind. So we'll go ahead and take Voltaic Visionary here as a good 2-drop for this deck, and a good 2-drop in general. I think Celebrance is similarly powerful, but we need the 2-drops, like I said. So we'll go ahead and take Visionary here. 13 creatures, 2 wolves, 6 werewolves, which means now we're deciding between Runebound Wolf and Hungry Ridge Wolf. I think we'll take the Runebound Wolf. We have 8 wolves. This makes 9, so I think that's going to be pretty good for our deck. Maybe we wheel 1 or 2 of the other Ridge Wolves. I think we opened one and picked 1 of this pack. So we'll take Runebound Wolf here as good reach for the late game. And then we see a Dormant Grove, the only card we could even possibly take in this pack, and it's very good. If If you haven't played with Dormant Grove yet, it's a very strong effect. Think of Luminarch Aspirant from Zendikar Rising, except this one can just flip into a creature as well. It's pretty great. So we'll go ahead and take Dormant Grove, and I think that really helped this deck come together. Our curve is fine, not great. We have a good amount of upper end on the curve and not a lot of good ways to bridge the gap to get there, which is awkward. So again, we just need to find a few more 2-drops. If a couple of those Hungry Ridge Wolves can come back around, that'd be great. I think we'll take Retrieve. Don't think this is the deck for it, though. So here's Lacerate Flesh versus Massive Might versus Weaver of Blossoms. So this is a difficult one between Massive Might and Weaver. I think I want to take my first copy of Massive Might. This card is super important in decks with Double Mariner, Flourishing Hunter, Falconwrath Celebrants, Dormant Grove. Massive Might is a super important card to get in those decks. So here's a Wolf versus a Flame Breather. We've only got 4 instants and sorceries and 1 enchantment. So I think we could take Sporeback Wolf here as just another wolf and a decent 2-drop. And the Ridge Wolf did come back, which is awesome news for us. So we're filling out our 2-drop slot here. Wolf Strike. Wow. Absolutely, I'll play a Wolf Strike. None of these are going to be good for us. Again, none of these. And it looks like that's how the deck will round itself out here. So we didn't quite get there, but we got pretty close. We got pretty close, that's for sure. It's a really difficult draft to navigate, obviously, but I think we found our lane. I think this was correct for our seat. So we've got 2 more cards to add to this. Is there anything in here that we need to cut? Flame Breather's not great in this deck with 6 triggers, but it is a 2-drop that blocks relatively well to get us to some of these cards. So there's Combatants, which I do not like in this style of deck. There's Rural Recruit, which is a 4-drop that's much worse than all of our current 4-drops. There is Crushing Canopy, and while I'm not a big fan of main decking Crushing Canopy, we don't have any reach in this deck. So if we go up against like blue-white or something, I think we could be in a real problem if they stick like a Heron of Hope or something like that and start gaining 3 to 5 life a turn. So maybe we can put in 1 Crushing Canopy to kind of protect us against that. There's also Retrieve. And with 1 Evolving Wilds, Retrieve gets a little bit better. Because you can return a creature and then a non-creature permanent. And the only non-creature permanent we have is Evolving Wilds, if you don't count Dormant Grove. Maybe Dormant Grove could end up going to the graveyard somehow, but that's betting on a lot to happen to want to play Retrieve. However, what's our other option? Don't want to play Bramble Armor. I think we're fine on the top end, so we don't need Prisoner or Spawn. I think this is a little slow for this deck. Maybe we could just put a Spawn in there. I mean, it's a fine card. It comes down and it's a problem, you know. It's a 6/4 that deals 3 whenever it dies to anything, which is a problem. So we have a lot of upper end. We just have to make sure we can get there. So if we trade off some of these creatures, drop down a Weaver, ramp this out kind of thing, remove some creatures, I think that'll kind of help us get there. So I think this deck is probably a 7.5 out of 10, maybe. It's not the perfect green-red deck by any means, but I definitely think we got there on a playable green deck, a green-red deck should perform decently well, I would hope. So as we get into the first match, don't forget that here at Daily Draft, we make sure that we post each draft we record, win or lose. Obviously, I'd love for every draft to be a trophy. Wouldn't that be great? But there's value in learning from mistakes and decks that underperform. So we're here to make sure you can learn at least something from each and every video on the channel. So obviously we need lands here to get to these, but we have a 2-drop and we can activate this, try to find something, try to find a land maybe that we can play. We transform it. Alright, they have an Epic here. So we'll drop our 2-drop here. And hope it survives. Okay, they have Butler. Milling 3 lands. That's either very good for them or very bad for them, depending on where they're at. So let's activate this. See what we can hit. Not quite. So now I think we just have to go Runebound Wolf. We had a lot of outs to hit something there that would have been able to play. We had any 2-drop, any 3-drop in the deck, any land in the deck. I think we had like a 70% chance to hit something. So I think it is still correct to activate that there, even though we kind of whiffed. Okay, that has the ability to be a problem next turn. Can only activate this a couple of times. So now we can do this on their Butler, which is going to be great for us. We'll flip that. Then we'll play our land, and we're not going to Impulse. Because next turn we want to go Celebrants, Hunter, and then once we stabilize, we can use Impulse to refill our hand here. So they could attack with both and transform their suitor. Would we block Epicure if they did that? I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, so they're going to steal that, and then we're going to go way low. So we go to 7, we take 7 down to 7, and they could pump it twice. Pump it once more to make us go down to 5. Problem is we can't really block that, so... Looks like our Berserker, and then they play a Flyer, so... Looks like our Berserker dealt us too much damage to be able to come back from that, so... I think we go... I guess we just play Celebrants here? I mean, it's not great, but this is worse. So this can't block, so let's get in. Okay. They'll get a blood token, and then we drop a 4/4, and then we probably have to chump something and then trade with Deadly Dancer. That's assuming they don't have removal. If they have removal, I think we're just dead. So yeah, we're taking 5 here. This could pump something itself and something, so we could go, okay. Okay, so this forces us to trade and chump. Let's see, so we're taking 4, so we have to chump here and trade there. So we're taking 1 plus 4 is, we're going down to 2, and then we'll die to Bloodcaster next turn. So let's just do that, because it's the only thing we can do. This can't even block, so... Massive Might likely does not do it for us. So let's see what we can find. We needed a land for Hunter to even have a chance of surviving. Those also won't do it. So I think we have to... What are we trying to find here? We already used our Bolt. So we're trying to find Wolf Strike, I guess? But even then we're dead. So I don't think we have an out here. Because they have a Flyer. Let's see what we can find. That is certainly not it. And then I think that'll probably do it for us here. Yep, that'll do it. So I said we'd be weak to flyers, so there was the proof. Okay, so we're on the draw here with a pretty good hand. Our opponent mulliganed once already, so we have 1 drop into 2 drop here. So I think we're going to go ahead and play this in the event that they play a 2 drop like Armory or Drake or something. Harris Blade Trainee. I think we'll just go ahead and get rid of that now to make sure we can use our mana. Play Sporeback Wolf. The timing on Evolving Wilds is going to be awkward here. Now, if we draw an extra land this next turn, then it won't be, because we can go 3 drop into 4 drop into Wilds, into another 4 drop. So there is that. So we did find that land, so that's good news for us. So let's get in. They won't block, and then we'll hold up Rending Flame for something that they play. I don't think we want to Rending Flame the Vampire Slayer. Don't think that's worth it. So we'll take 2. They'll play Armory. That's also something I'm not particularly interested in, Rending Flame. So I'm just going to hold it. Don't think we need to attack. We can, though. So if we attack, they're going to take it. Then we play Hookhand Mariner, assuming they don't have removal for Hookhand Mariner. They could have Syncopate, which would not be good, but we have to do this. So let's see if they have Syncopate. Ah, darn, they have Syncopate. Okay. Well, they got priority, so... Let's see. So are they still getting priority? I know it's technically better to attack before you play your creature, which is the general rule of thumb, but I wanted to see if they were going to get priority on this to decide if we were going to attack. Heron of Hope, that's something that's a good target for Rending Flame here. So I think we can go Flame Breather. And then get in with Mariner, and we'll see if they want to double block. They won't, okay. So we'll hold up Rending Flame. We could just do it now to prevent some sort of counterspell. And maybe that's worth it. But there's a chance because they only have 1 card in hand, there's a chance they go for the activation of Lifelink on this. You know, because they're playing blue, I think I am just going to go ahead and do this now. The activation probably wouldn't hurt them, because if they use the activation, they don't have any other way to use their mana. So it wouldn't even hurt them mana-wise, so we're going to go ahead and kill that now. Okay. So we flip our Rip Hook Raider, and I think we've drawn nothing but lands and a Flame Breather this game, so that's not great. But we'll get in with the Raider. They'll tap it down, okay, so at least that makes them not be able to counter the loner. So they can Syncopate for X equals 1, and we can still pay that here. So we'll play loner. Comes in on the backside as well, which is great. And we'll play Wilds to thin our deck a little bit. Okay, I don't think I care about that. Another land. So let's crack this Wilds here. Holy lands. Okay, so play that. Unfortunately, I don't think we have good attacks because we don't want to trade this. All they have to do is block here, and then we would deal 4 to that, I guess. So it would kill everything on their board. But I'd like to get hits in with the Raider while this is alive. So I think we're just going to pass. Okay. Sure. Can't block it. Alright. Got a Flourishing Hunter here. Let's play our land, and then we'll get in with just the Raider, see what they do. See if they have a way to prevent us from getting a bunch of value here. So they're going to chump. Okay. They might have Adamant Will. There's the Adamant Will. Okay. So we can deal 5 damage somewhere here. And I think we can deal it to the Gutter Skulker. Rather than their face. Just to make sure they don't have another thing on the board. And then we'll play a 6/6. And end the turn. Okay. They're certainly getting in. I guess they have to do something. So this is going to flip our Avenger back, which isn't great for us. But Massive Might certainly is. We can also pump this a bunch. So math is for blockers. I'm pretty sure we have some kind of lethal here. So let's see what they want to do. With the amount of times we can pump this with Massive Might to give it trample. Yeah, this should work out just fine in our favor here. So let's do this. Deal 1. And then pump it as many times as we can. And that should be lethal. There we go. Exacxies. Alright, so we're on the draw here with a good enough of a hand, I think. Obviously we need lands, but we can never mulligan a 2-lander on the draw. Looking to play against Let's Talk Limited. This sounds like a podcast name or something like that, so I wonder if our opponent has a podcast or a YouTube channel of their own. Sporeback Wolf, okay. There's our extra land, and I think we'll lead with Ridge Wolf here. Alright, so they got all their colors of mana here. And no instants in hand, which is good. Purifier. Okay. Highly doubt. So if we attack, they're not blocking. So I think we just play Spore Crawler as a threat to block their Purifier here. And if they kill the Spore Crawler so that they can get in, they likely won't have the mana to draw the card. And we will draw a card. So, I think it's a decent enough play here. Interesting they have a deck that has both Sporeback Wolf and a Markov Purifier in it, but who knows. Okay, so now they could get in with the Purifier. They really wanted to, but they don't. Okay, good. So we drew our land. We could attack with both after playing a Ballista Watcher, because this will be a 3/2. They missed their land drop, so I think I want to get this Ballista Watcher going here. And then get in with both of them. because the Watcher blocks well enough. So they'll trade, which is fine with me. So they're probably debating between something in their hand. Okay, so they'll get rid of our Spore Crawler, which isn't great. We'd like to get the card out of that, but it is what it is. So they will get in with that and be able to draw their card. Okay, that makes sense. So we could go Flame Breather plus Runebound Wolf. We can go Hookhand Mariner here, and I think I'd rather just get a 4/4 down. So let's get the 4/4 down and then get in for 4. And now we have a bunch of chonkers they have to deal with another one coming next turn. Interesting. Okay, so they might attack us here because we can't block it, so we're going to have to take that. Can't draw a card. So this is land is good because we can now go Mariner plus Massive Might if we want to. So let's attack with both. Okay. They'll take 8. Now we can go... We can just play another 4/4. Now the way we had to tap here, we obviously want to leave up Massive Might, but because we only have 1 green up, they know we have Massive Might now. If we ever give them... If they ever give us priority here, then they're going to know that we have Massive Might and be able to play around it for the rest of this game. And that's not good news. Alright, so... Let's see here. We can go Flame Breather, Impulse, Massive Might deals 2 extra damage to them. We can also just do that post-combat, depending on how they block here. So I think I'd rather get in here and see how they block and see if we can set up post-combat lethal. That block makes sense. So they're gaining 2 and taking 4 here. So we need to kill this Hive Heart Shaman desperately. Because if we don't, it's going to get out of hand very quickly. So let's do this. We can only kill one of these creatures. So they played around this very well, but we needed to kill this Hive Heart Shaman. So they go to 8. Now we can go Wolf and Flame Breather next turn, Impulse into something, and we still have a very good board. And then if we really run out of gas, the Runebound Wolf can start pinging them as well. More lifelink. More lifelink. Okay, I'm not liking the lifelink on the other side here. Let's do Impulse first. Ill-Tempered Loner and Dormant Grove, neither of which we can cast, and we have to get rid of one next turn because we didn't draw land. That's awkward. So let's play our Visionary. And I'm not sure we're in the position of attacking anymore. Because if we do this, we trade it for just an Ancestor, which is not good enough. So what do we want next turn, Loner or Dormant Grove? I don't know. That's a difficult one. Really awkward flip here. from the impulse. Okay, and that might just kill us. Because again, we are weak to flyers. Makes sense. I think we need to try to trade here. So I think we can block like this. They're obviously going to kill the Mariner, but we need to get rid of that. We need to find a Wolf Strike or a Crushing Canopy or something to kill their Quartermaster here. There's the Wolf Strike, but we can't play it yet because we need to get one of these down. And which do we want to get down? Loner or Dormant Grove? I think Dormant Grove has a better chance of closing out this game than Loner. Although... So, we're gonna need... This is just one card, whereas Dormant Grove gets us multiple values over the time. So if they top deck a removal spell, kill this, then we're in really bad shape. So I think I'm gonna go with the Dormant Grove here. And then start to try to get value out of the Dormant Grove. Rather than flipping it, we're gonna try to start stabilizing with some higher toughnesses here. I know we get rid of the Ill-Tempered Loner, which is unfortunate news for us, but what you're going to do when you flip those two off of Reckless Impulse. We do have a way to get rid of the Quartermaster, and they have a way to get rid of our Mariner. Okay. Not good. Do we go to 2 or 3? We probably have to go to 3 now. We could also trade here, so we'd be left with a Flame Breather, and they would be left with a Sharpshooter after we... Well, we won't even be able to kill it because it's night. We could flip it to night and then use the Flame Breather to kill Quartermaster. Assuming we don't draw another spell we want to cast. Also, our Dormant Grove will be able to... We'll pump it so we can kill it. So let's go like this. And then we'll go to 3. Ridgewolf. Put the counter here. And then Wolf Strike. We could put the counter on the Ridgewolf, actually. So let's go Ridgewolf. Put the counter here. No attacks. Kill their Quartermaster. And then maybe we stabilize, but we still need a lot of help here. Okay. So let's put a counter here, and then no attacks, and we don't need to play the land. Good news is it's night, and that can only help us more than it helps them. Alright, so they're going to give that lifelink. Bolt is going to be good for the Traveling Minister. And we may just need to do that now, so they can stop gaining life. So let's do that now. Actually, it's a bit of a mistake. We should have done it on their upkeep to make sure it flips back to night, because again, that can only benefit us. So we'll go to combat, we'll put it here, and no attacks. And wow, That was a bit of an early concession. Jeez. Alright, so this is an awkward hand, obviously. One more land, we can play Ballista Watcher. And if it's a green, we can play Spore Crawler. Otherwise, we are in big trouble. So this is the kind of hand that if you keep and it doesn't go well, it's just a non-game and you lose straight up. So I think that's makes it worth mulliganing. So very similar, but this time we at least have 2 2-drops. And we'll get rid of our 6-drop here. So we have something we can play, at the very least. Don't like seeing turn 1 Minister here, and don't like drawing a 6-drop that's double green. So, gonna need some help. That's gonna hurt. Loner's a good draw, but again, we need something for it. So let's attack here. Though they will block, which makes sense. So hopefully we draw a green, and then... Okay, so that's gonna keep clocking us for 3 every turn. And we kind of missed it there, so... Looks like this one might be a quick one. They missed a land drop too, though. There's most of the cards in our deck we can cast if we flip something off a Visionary. So let's use this now while we can. Yep, that'll make this into a 3-2. That'll flip this. And it could bait out a counterspell from them that they probably don't want to use. Didn't think so. So we'll get in with Ridgewolf now. And then they'll kill Berserker. Oh, bounce Berserker. Okay. Okay, so now they're just going to keep playing Flyers here. And again, we're probably just going to die to an army of Flyers because we don't have reach. Mariner or Loner? I guess we'll play Loner. And we'll get in here because we have to. But we're taking 5 a turn now, so we're dead in 3 turns. And they're gaining life. They're gaining life, so... Could get ugly. Oh, jeez. And then they play their own Loner. Yeah. Okay, so if we attack and they block, deal us 3, and then we're dead, so we can't even attack. We'll just play Expert and then die next turn, I guess. Yep, so we said in the deck build that Flyers would be the way that'll get us, and we've lost 2 games so far to Flyers, so... Maybe that makes Apprentice Sharpshooter a higher pick in all green-red decks, even if you aren't really looking to train it so much. I think they had lethal if they attacked with Loner as well. I don't think we have an out here. So let's just attack with everything. Maybe we can pump this enough that we can deal the damage first. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe they kill us first with their trigger. Or if they bounce our Avenger, then it doesn't really matter. Yeah, there's no way we have 22 damage, but yeah, that makes sense. So let's just pump this much time, see what happens. Yeah, they're going to bounce it. What you doing? So we'll do 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So yeah, even that is not enough. And they're just going to punch us in the face with the Loner here. And then they'll hit us in the face for lethal. There we go. We didn't have an out anyway, so. Okay, on the draw, we'll keep this hand. Obviously need a green, but we've got cards we can cast, so we will do so. Ragged Recluse, okay. We'll go Hungry Ridge Wolf. No blocks. Into Gluttonous Guest, which is awkward because now we can't attack through it, even if we pump it here. So let's go Runebound Wolf, and the next turn we can probably play Dormant Grove, start pumping things. They're likely going to flip this into a 3/3, which means if they attack with it, I think I'm going to block it. They won't, okay? Makes sense. We will go Dormant Grove here. And pump this one. We can now attack with it, but then we're going to take 4 on the backswing, and they're going to... So we're trading 4 for 3 after the math is all said and done. So I don't think we need to attack here. Socialite, pretty good for them. Okay, no attacks. We can go Weaver plus Wolf, or we can go Expert here. This is going to start pinging for like 6 at some point here. I think we can go Weaver plus Wolf. That way next turn we have access to an extra mana if we want it. But the Expert does block better. So I think I'm actually going to go Expert. Because it block... Well, not sure it makes that much of a difference, but let's go... Let's go Weaver plus Wolf. Then we can pump Sporeback Wolf to make it a 3/3 on their turn. No need to attack. Interesting, okay. They're going to drain us. So if we go for this, they could blow us out with some instant speed thing. I'd rather just go for the sure trade here. Or at least try to trade with this. We could take 5, and the next turn we're going to have a 3/4 plus a 1/1. That'll go a long way in being able to block this. So I want to try this first. Without getting blown out by some removal spell. Okay, so that did work, which is good. Let's see what they follow it up with. Yikes. That's brutal. Okay. And then when it dies, they get to do that again? Jeez. Okay. So we have access to 6 plus... So we have 7 mana, so we can't do both of these. We can do Expert, though. Again, I think this blocks Socialite well enough. We can actually make this into a 2/2. And I don't think we can block because of this stupid Desecrator. Or attack. I mean, we're going to have to do something about it, but... it's just going to, like, 3-for-1 us again. Grisly Ritual. Okay. They get their blood, that they can make this into a 5/5 again. And now that Grisly Ritual's in the yard, Desecrator can kill anything on our board. So let's go Impulse first here. Rending Flame. Huh. So Rending Flame, the Desecrator, lets them kill something that's not our Ill-Tempered Loner, which is of importance to us. So I think I'm going to let them do that now and see what they want to kill. That way our Ill-Tempered Loner has outs to surviving. Would they exile? Our Infestation Expert. Okay, and then they'll kill our 4/3. Makes sense. And then we can just make this a 3/3 here. Looks like we're going to lose our Crushing Canopy. But against green-black, I don't think that's the end of the world. Okay, so clearly they have removal in their hand. But I think we have to block. As much as I don't want to. I mean, they would only attack like this, because right now they're trading this for a 3/3. And they would only attack like this if they were going to get us with a removal spell. And problem is, what am I going to do? Just keep taking 5 over and over again as long as they have it? So, I mean, we have to block and then get owned by a removal spell here. So we'll have a 4/4 Ill-Tempered Loner on our side of the battlefield against their 5/5 Menace. Yep, we knew that was happening. So again, at least it got their Bleed Dry out for our Ill-Tempered Loner to survive. But how much is that really going to matter at this point? We can go Celebrants. We know we're not blocking this because it has Menace. So we can go Celebrants here first. Get a couple blood. Put the counter on it and then pass. We could flip this next turn too, which is important. We have 1 card left, so we just need to kind of dodge removal this 1 turn here. Okay, so they want to keep their blood, which tells me they could have another land. Because they want to keep it to use it. So they will pitch that land. And hopefully they draw another one. Looks like they did. Okay, my turn. And it's night. Okay, so we can go Pyre Spawn, which threatens a trade. Or not a trade, but it kills this when it dies. There's also just playing Loner, and I think this is more mana efficient. That way next turn we can go Loner plus use a blood to get rid of a land or something if we draw that. And this just kind of really stabilizes us here. So we can put the counter here and get an extra value of a counter. Or we could put it here and flip the Dormant Grove. I think I want to put it here and flip the Dormant Grove, because these both now have Vigilance. So we can really start to get in. Now I think we're relatively stable. We're pretty sure that last card is a land here. So this will enter on the backside, and then we can deal tons of damage here. Even if they choose to trade. Okay, so we can kill... What can we kill? We can kill the Socialite and then kill the other 2, probably. We'll definitely kill the Socialite. We'll go to damage here. And we get 6. So do we just want to hit them in the face here? Yeah, may as well. We'll get rid of... I think we'll go back here. I think we'll tap it like this in case we find Flame Blessed Bolt. Flourishing Hunter. That'll be good next turn, but... We'll see if they find themselves finding out here. Looks like they didn't. They flooded out pretty hard, but sometimes that happens. Okay, pretty good hand here, I think. Even if we miss that third land drop, we can use Impulse to ideally find it. Okay, there's the second land. We'll play Flame Breather. Disciple, it's a good target for Bolt here. But would we rather Impulse? Because if we don't Impulse, I think we would rather Impulse here. See what we can find. Okay, so we can cast that next turn. So we'll do this and then get in there and cast Ill-Tempered Loner next turn. That worked out pretty well. Oakshade Stalker. So they have a 3/3 now. We have a loner. All of the werewolf sounds. Definitely don't want to be wolf striking our loner. Okay, no blocks. And Resistance Squad. We get to draw a card. Okay. We'll go Forest. We can attack here. They won't block. Almost assuredly won't block. And then we can go Mariner. Holding up Massive Might. Okay, so now they know we have it. So we'll go to blockers. We can block here, I think. Yeah. So we'll block there. Adamant Will. So Massive Might would let us save it. So it goes to a 5/5. So we can play this to let this go to a 6/6. Which I think we would like to save this. And then they play a 2/2. Okay. Dormant Grove or Flourishing Hunter. Dormant Grove lets us activate Loner. We're not in danger of dying on the backswing. We're the aggressive one here. So we can do this and then play this next turn to stabilize. Or we can do this and then next turn we play this and then we have just all kinds of... Yeah. I think we can definitely plan to do that. So we'll play this now. Next turn we'll do this. It'll automatically flip. Everything will have Vigilance. We'll get a ton of value out of that. So we can get in there with these two now. And we're at 18. And I think we've got a good enough board here to be able to survive this. Okay, Imprisonment. Should be okay. So we can go, again, we can just do Grove here. We can go to combat, put the counter, probably well, does it really matter? This makes it very difficult for them to double block. We didn't, oh, then if that creature has toughness 6 or greater. Okay, that's still fine. I think we're able to get in there well enough. They're going to have to 2-for-1 themselves to trade with this and then jump with that one. Probably is their best bet here. So we'll still be left with the 6/6. They could double block the Hunter and then jump the Mariner, I suppose. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. In turn. Griff Rider, sure. Is that all they have? Looks like it. So now we can just, yeah, pump that and then get in with everything. Okay, cool. Alright, so we're on the play with a hand we cannot keep. This one looks a bit better. I mean, obviously now that we can play a game of Magic and not get mana screwed out of it, so there is that. Hungry Ridge Wolf, okay. We can go... I guess we can go Weaver in case we draw a 5-drop, or we can let it survive and then we can go Mariner next turn and then double 3-drop the following turn. Packsong Pup is going to be a problem here. They have massive might because they got priorities, so we can try to blow them out next turn with that. So we can go Impulse plus hold up Rending Flame to blow out their massive might. So let's do that. Finding double land, I think, is fine, so we'll do that. And then again, we're just going to blow out their massive might this turn. Only problem is that this now goes to a 3/3. And we'd probably rather Rending Flame that. Okay. So let's go to blockers. We'll block here. They'll let it happen? Okay, sure. Then we just get to Rending Flame that. Oh, no, 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 no. Well, we certainly messed that up. Needed to use this prior to that happening. Awkward, awkward. All right. Definitely a misplay there. My fault, but play our Mariner, and then next turn we can go double removal spell, hopefully. My fault, my fault. So they still have massive might. Yeah, that's probably a game-losing mistake there. So... And they know we have something here to remove this with. So even Rending Flame at this point doesn't do it. Yeah, so Rending Flame on the Packsong Pup doesn't even remove it. So what we can do is we can pass to Knight and then Wolf Strike down the Packsong Pup, which can't be protected by Massive Might because this will be an 8-powered creature. So I think it's something we have to do. Then we can Rending Flame the other one. So let's pass the turn, flip it to Knight here. See if they're going to try to equip or not. They will. So we can Rending Flame that. Even if they Massive Might this, it will not survive. Because it is dealing 5. Now, Witch's Web would let it survive, but that's fine there. Resolves here. Blood Petal Celebrant, and then we can go ahead and kill their Packsong Pup. They gain 4 life. Okay, so obviously not ideal, but we were able to kind of get there on doing that. So we could leave this back to block. But I think this is a race that I'm fine trying to do right now. I know we can't block with Spore Crawler. But we're only taking 2 for now. They could have the Ripsaw. They could use their Ripsaw here, which could get out of hand. Because this is going to be a 5-powered First Striker. Lightning Wolf can also have First Strike. So we'll play Ridge Wolf, and we're just going to die to a bunch of First Strikers here. Don't think we can attack. We've kind of used up our removal too. Wolf Strike, Rending Flame. Haven't used up Flame Blast Bolt, but these First Strikers are really going to be difficult for us to get through. Or for us to remove. Okay, so they have a 5-powered First Striker. And a 4-powered First Striker. Can't double block here. Could double block here, because then they'll kill this, and then this will kill it. We could do the same over here to get rid of that one. Hopefully they don't have Massive Might again. Oh, wait. No, we already know they have it. Because they haven't used it yet. So, yeah, I think we're kind of just toast. So if we do this, we're currently taking 5. Massive Might would make us take 6, 4. So we're dead if we do this. So we'd have to do this. This at least gives us an out to draw a card. It's a double chump, but what are we going to do? I mean, there's nothing we can really do. We know they have it. So we're just going to have to double chump here. Because we know they have it. We're going to have to try to draw out of it is our thing. Doesn't really do it. So we'll play Celebrants here. Again, they're still getting priority with 1 green, which means it is Massive Might. So we'll get rid of the Mountain. And I guess we can play our Forest to keep this up. Because we know they have one for themselves. I would like to be able to pitch this Forest with this, but I'd also like to be able to cast this Massive Might to try to get us to survive any attack that they have. Okay. Pass to attackers. Yes. Pass to blockers. I think we can block this one. They're going to pump it to 6. They don't even have to do. They could just let it trade. So we'll trade with one of these here. Take 5. Okay, pass to first strike damage. Now they could Massive Might this. Would survive too. Okay. Well, no, because they already dealt damage, so. Resolves, they still have their Massive Might up. We draw another land that we're going to get rid of here. Ballista Watcher. Okay, well we're trying, but not succeeding entirely. Because we have to block both of these because we know they have it, so they're gonna be able to get in. We have to chump and trade, I guess is what we have to do here. I don't like chumping with Ballista Watcher, but... Okay, pass to attackers. Yep, we know they have Massive Might, so we are not going to let Spore Crawler through. Not what I meant to do. Pass to blockers. We'll go here and here. Yep. Alright, so they're going to use it, which means we can survive for the moment. Keyword, for the moment. Yeah, there's that. Loner goes back to day, but don't think that'll work out for us. So we'll pass the turn. Just playing on our back foot here the whole time. We can at least trade with Flourishing Hunter and then kill the Celebrant after we chump with it. After we chump with this one. So we can go here and here. So then this can trade. And then we can kill the Celebrant now, but then we're up to a top deck war. And they have 3 cards in hand and a blood token. Yep, so there's another lethal threat. They'll give it Ripsaw. And we will die by drawing a Ridgewolf. Yeah, we were just constantly on the back foot there. Could never quite stabilize to Ripsaw. Ripsaw's a really good card. So, here's what it is. Green-red, still a good deck. You know what? Don't forget to stick around to the end of the video to toggle through our Crimson Vow trophy playlist or to find the last video in case you missed it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you on Tuesday for your daily draft.